Hi guys, well here we are in Affinity Publisher version 2 and I'm going to show you how to use books. Now I've got that way expanded so that you can see it's the tab bar and you're all familiar with that. Find where books are in that tab bar because yours naturally won't look anything like this, and I'll reduce it. Before I do any further, books, pages and layers, they're the things I'm using most at the moment. So let's have a look. Let's reduce that a little bit. Now what I want to do here is create a new book. See, I don't currently have any books open. I'm going to create a new book. It's untitled. This book currently has no chapters. Add an EPUB file using the add button below. Now do we have any EPUB files? Okay, now this is quite tricky. You really should remember this because if you add pages outside of the book's persona, let's call it a persona rather than the book's tab, let's call it a book persona. And if we add a book outside this or a chapter, it won't work. Now let's go to there. This book currently has no chapters. Well, it's not even a book because it's untitled. Let's give it a title. Save book as. Now you'll see I used the little sandwich up there. Now save book as, and we can go to books tutorial where I'm working. Let's call this one book 3. Book 3 tutorial. And guess who missed the 3? Put a 2 instead. No, don't want to do that. Book 3 and save. Now you can see I've got it saving in a Affinity Publisher directory on Dropbox under Books Tutorial. Easy. You can put it where you like. I'm saving it there. And there we go. Now you have a book called Book 3 Tutorial, but it currently has no chapters. Now for the quick amongst you, you might have seen when I had that directory open that there were a couple of chapters there. Because what I've done is create a couple of chapters in Publisher, File, New Page, a new AF pub page, 6x9 standard, and I want it portrait. There's number of pages of 4. Create. There we go. File. Save as. Chapter 3. Back in Books Tutorial, that's where I'm saving Chapter 3. Just save it there. Now, it's fairly important to remember that you first create these pages, AF pub pages, which they normally are, in Affinity Publisher. But once you've created them, don't alter them in your normal publisher. Alter them only when you've got them open in your books persona. So let's go and add one, shall we? Down the bottom here, you can see where my nice big red arrow is. Click on the arrow. There's chapter 3. Well, I don't want to put that in because we want chapter 1. We've got 2 and 3 there yet. So let's go to chapter 1. We'll open chapter 1 and there it is there. Chapter 1. Now you'll notice it's got a little lock. That's the style source chapter. Is that important? My word, it's important because that's where all your styles are. Font sizes, colours, swatches, anything that's going to affect your book. The source chapter is in there. What's in there will affect virtually every other chapter in your book, unless of course you isolate parts of the book with sections, and you know how to do that. If you don't, well, you'll have to have a look at one of the other videos. But there we go, chapter 1. Double click on it and oh, we've got chapter 1 up. That's what's in chapter 1. What's in chapter 1? Pages. You'll note, okay, let me expand that. We've got books, pages. There's the pages in chapter 1. There's the first page, second page, third page, fourth page and a fifth page. Too easy. And there's even a master page. And if we're on that one, you can see the layers in there as well, and that's what's in the layers. Now, what is that? That's chapter 1. Now, let's have a look and see if we can add another chapter. How do we add another chapter? Now, you can see that page there, those pages. Don't alter them outside now. You know where they are. They're chapter 1, 2 and 3 in the books tutorial folder, but don't alter them directly. Only change them in here. You can see I've got in here, and there it is there, there it is there. I can alter those things in here, but not directly in Affinity Publisher as an AF pub file anymore, because they'll lose all the links to this book, and you don't want that. Of course, having altered it slightly, you can see that. I can just go save book, and that saves my changes. Now we want to add another couple of pages. Page chapter 2. Open. There's chapter 2. And that consists of 4 pages. Nothing in those yet. Let's go back to books and we'll add chapter 3. Remember me creating chapter 3? I'll open that one. There's chapter 3. Same deal, pages, layers. So it's exactly the same as you would normally see if you are creating something like that. Now, you might have more than 3 chapters in your book. You might have 20 chapters. Obviously, if you've already written a book and you've done them one by one, you're going to have to pull them in a chapter at a time into your book's persona, because you're going to edit that originally and everything will follow. Now, the other thing you've got is the numbers. 1 to 5, 6 to 9 and 10 to 13. If you add pages outside of the book's persona, those numbers won't follow properly. Do you get what I mean? They won't be correct. However, if you add pages within, you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I added that page. But where did I add it? I added it within the book's persona. So it counted it up. There's books, and there it is, 1 to 5, 6 to 9, and 10 to 13. You just keep adding them in there. Now, at first you may actually fall over that because it's a bit tricky to get your head around. But we've got 3 chapters in there. Let's make sure we save them by going to... Oh, I want to show you something else first. We want to add a page. There's chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3. Okay? Now they can be in any order, but they're today, everything's done today except chapter 1. That was done on the 1st of September. Now we've got chapter 1, 2 and 3 all ready to go. All the numbers are correct. Ignore that up there, that's just a warning. There's a spelling mistake for yes, and the placed image was too low in one section. Let's see where that was. That was one of those. That one there, it's 66 dpi. You'd easy change that to 72, so I'm not worried about that. That's in Preflight. Let's go back to books. We're not worried about the errors. That's okay. Chapter 2 doesn't need saving. Preflight's okay. All tests passed. That's not, because there's nothing in chapter 2. It's empty. That's why it's saying that. So, and all tests are passed anyway. And they're back at chapter 1, and it's got a few errors. And we can clear that or ignore those with Preflight. If you're worried about that, go into Preflight. And you can clear all those. Okay, now let me show you what happens if you create a chapter and don't save it. See that chapter 3 has got an M next to it. That means it hasn't been saved. So it will, if you save it or don't save it, it will throw those errors out. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 were already done. Chapter 3 is saved. So it's no longer got an M next to it. We're over there. If you don't save it, if you go through the route of saying, oh no, don't save all this, then you'll lose it. And those numbers there will be out. So we've got chapter 1, let's place them, chapter 2 and chapter 3. So let's create another chapter by creating an APUB file, a new 6x9 standard, create, file, save as, chapter 4. Now there's chapter 4. Let's add that to the book. Chapter 4, open, add to the book. And there it is in the book. And you'll notice it's got an M next to it now. Chapter 4 is not been saved. Let's put something in it. File, place. Oh, let's grab something out of photos. We'll just do that one again. There's no point getting really fussy about this. Oh, but I didn't put a picture frame, so it's going to be a different size, isn't it? There we go. That's pretty much centered. Still got the M next to it. All looking good. 13, 14 up to 17. But don't forget to save that so that the M is gone. And don't forget to save the book. If you don't save the book, when you come back, chapter 4, hey presto, will be missing. And you really don't want that, do you? Okay, so chapters 1, 2, 3 and 4. And we've got a few things in there. Let's take that over there for a little bit. What I want to do is put a picture frame, which I should have done first. Picture frames make life really easy. Don't forget them. Pick up the move tool. Get rid of that altogether. Place it again. Place. Photos. That image there from the comics. And there it is there. Just where you're neatly inside the frame. Okay? Now, the M is back there, which means it hasn't been saved, even though it's got a tick there. That's Preflight, remember? Go over here and save the book. Doesn't get rid of the M. File, save, gets rid of the M. And that puts it there. Now let's see what happens if I do a chapter 5, file, new, standard, create, file, save as, chapter 5, and save. Put something in it. Dooby-dooby-doo. A big something. Let's neaten that up a little bit. just because I'm fussy. Centered, just how I like it. Got an M there. Load chapter 5, open chapter 5, and there's chapter 5, 17, 18, 21. And so we go. But it's got an M there, hasn't it? Even though I can save the book, it saves the book. Let's close all those. Close, 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 close. There we go. File, close book. We don't want that there, do we? Why is that still there? I don't know. Pages. File, close. Don't save because I think I'm finished. Now, when I open the book again, open recent, there's book 3 tutorial. AF book, open recent. Now you can see what's happened because I didn't save chapter 5 before we exited. See what's happened? It's reset its numbering to 1 to 4. It thinks it's a completely new book. Now you may want that, and that's how you do it. Just remember that, because chapter 5 is there. There it is there with nothing saved. Remember the words I put in there? They didn't save. Now it's gone back to 18 to 21, which is where you want it. Now, Books Persona behaves quite differently, and it will take you a little bit of time to get used to that option. But now we can go to chapter 5. We can file. We can save chapter 5. We can save the book. Save book. And there we go. Everything looking good. All the numbers are in the right order. Okay. Now from there, remember we've got pages involved here, which you can alter at will. And you've got master pages, which you can add to and subtract from, and they will affect every page in your book without having anything open up here. You can see we are there on page 1. It's not up the top there anymore. It's there. Does that make sense? No, it probably doesn't, does it? But there it is, chapter 1. So the book's persona, I call it a persona. It's not really a persona, but I call it that because everything in there is tied together. If you then go to your documents, to chapter 3, for example, or chapter 1 if you like, and alter it outside of the book's persona, the changes won't reflect in here, which can be very frustrating if you spent 2 days altering chapter 1 and then you load it back into the book and where's it all gone? Oh my God. So you have a real problem. Just remember, if you're going to do anything with this, do it within book 1, or well, within your book. In this case, book 3 tutorial. Now, from our next steps in this thing are to try and put some things in here, such as our style source chapter requirements. So let's look at that in the next little session. Now, before we go too much further, I'd like to show you the list of chapters here and talk through the book's list. Now, you'll see I've got 5 chapters in here already. Page numbers 1 to 4, 5 to 8. That's because each of those chapters has 4 pages. 9 to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 4 pages each. Now, all of them, the status is okay, so they're good, clean pages. In fact, they're very clean. There's no detail in any of them. And the tick there means all tests are passed. So if there's any tests being performed on them by the Preflight checker, it will show up there as probably a little red cross or a red something or other. Now let's take chapter 2. We want to make some changes to chapter 2, so we'll double click on that. And chapter 2 opens, and we've got chapter 2 up the top here. Chapter 2, Thursday's Child. Nothing over here that you want to see at the moment, but in the list, which is what we're talking about at the moment, we've got screen, the status is open for edit. So if you see that little stack of paper with a pencil on it, that lets you know that that chapter is open for edit. Now you can close that by going up to the little stack there, and you can select Close Open Chapters. And there it is, closed again. Status is okay, chapter's closed. We might want to open chapter 4. There's chapter 4, Thursday's Child, open. And it's showing you the status there. Thursday's Child is open in the status display. And you can make changes to it. You can see what pages you're on by going to Pages. There's pages 1 through 13, 15, 18, and so forth. Just like you would in a normal book, you can make whatever changes you like in there. Now, I'm leaving Master Pages alone for the moment, because Master Pages in the Books Persona, as I like to call it, can be quite tricky. Let's just stick with Pages, and we'll go back to page 1. Now, we've made all the changes, we've done all the things, and I'll make some changes there shortly, just to show you what happens. But I don't want to worry about that at the moment, because what I want to do is go back to Books, show you that really nothing's changed, and what we've got there is status open for edit. And I want to close that, and we'll start with the next section by showing you what happens when we begin to edit. So let's close that. Close Open Chapters. It'd be nice if I could just close one chapter, but you don't seem to be able to do that. Close Open Chapters, and that will happen. If the chapter's open, and we'll do that again, Thursday's Child, chapter 4, open for edit. Let's put some text in there. No changes there. Let's see what happens. Will it ask us to save it first? Let's just get back to the move. You can see over there on the left-hand side if I'm going too fast for you. There's the move tool. Why don't we move that to the center? There we go. The word text. Now, how neat is that? We could go up here to File and Save, but I won't do that, because what I want to do is go over here and select Close Open Chapters. And you can see there's no other option there. We don't want to close the book, and we don't want to close the whole panel, just Close Open Chapters. And it says, oh, Chapter 4 has been modified. Save the file before closing, so you don't get caught by not saving your file. I'm sure you've been there. Just save it. And there it is there. Look, status is okay. No problems there. Let's just open that one again, and there it is. We'll close it again because we're going to move on to the next little bit. Not close book, just Close Open Chapters. And there it is closed. Now, let's get ready for the next bit. Now, before we finish this section, because I'm sure you've had enough by now, I just want to go over again how important it is to keep your wits about you and notice what you're doing when it comes to saving documents. Let's just take chapter 5 of Thursday's Child here. I'll open that up and you can see that it doesn't appear in the top menu bar here, but it does appear up here, of course. Now, I'll go to the text mode. We've got a cursor flicking there. Now, I've just put a new line in there. There's no indication in here of the fact that that chapter's been altered, but chapter 5 up here has got a star next to it. That tells you that it has been altered. Now you might have a couple of chapters open, so let's open chapter 3. There's chapter 3, and it's got text in it, but nothing's been altered and there's no star. But we've got it in the top bar here again now, but there's an M next to chapter 5, which I did alter by putting a new line in there, and it's still got the star. Now there are a number of ways I showed you of solving this. This one here, you can do the old standard, go up there and save it, or Command S if you like, or Control S I think it is on the Apple, on the Mac, Windows, one of them anyway. But I'm not one for using those quick options because they can sometimes get confusing and you press the wrong thing. But anyway, you've got an M there and a star there, but that's referring to chapter 5, not chapter 3, which you've got in highlight there. We're back to chapter 5. And there's chapter 5, still unsaved. So let's go to chapter 3, and you can just click on that, and that will exit, but it won't ask you to save it. But up here, if you're working in here, you can go to Save Open Chapters, and that will save both of them, and it will get rid of the M and the star. But closing the open chapters, chapter 5 has been altered. Save the file before closing. So yes, save that file. Now there's still no indication in there except that all the ticks are right and all of that's right, and there's your text move there, and all is good. There's no star and there's no M. So we'll just close that again, close open chapters, job done. And that's it. Just remember to keep your wits about you, as I said, and you can see up there if there's a star, even if it's the only page that's open, if it's got a star up there or an M in the file list that comes along the top there, a letter M, M for Mike, then you know it's unsaved, and you should save it before you exit, otherwise you'll just lose it. Now we're going to move on after this, but because there's a fair bit of work in it, I'll put that in another video. So thanks for watching this one. I hope you found it useful. Subscribe, tell your friends, send me a postcard, and all will be well. See you in the next video.